Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi, Hadar. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Hi, Cascade. We're happy to have you here.
Oh, wonderful. I am super excited to be here, and I want to thank all of you guys for being here too. I know it is the holidays right now, and there's so much going on, so I appreciate you taking a little bit of time out of your busy schedules to be here with us too. So if you are good, Hadar, I'd love to just jump right in. How does that sound?
Sounds
Okay.
great. Yes.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you guys for being here, and thank you for Hadar and everybody with ParentGood. It is such an incredible platform that has allowed me to connect with so many different people and to be here tonight. If you guys want to reach out to me at all, if you have any more questions after this or something more specific for you, feel free to send me a message through there and we can connect, and that way we can work on anything going on specific for you. So tonight we are talking about the value of play. And I have 3 helpful things for you guys to know if you don't like to play. Now, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Cascade Bishop. I have my master's in education, and I have been working in the field for over 15 years. I have worked in preschools and public schools. I have ran camps. I have done all of those fun things. I even have children myself, and I don't like to play. It is probably something that shocks most people, but you could ask my sister. Even growing up, it is just not something I like to do. I have one board game that I enjoy, and my entire family will not play Battleship with me anymore. So I'm hoping one day my children will. But I am very particular when it comes to play. But being in the profession that I'm in, I understand the value behind it. So today we're going to really just take some time and dive into the value of play, dive into what our role is, and then we'll be able to really hone in on those 3 components that'll be helpful for us when we don't like to always engage in play. So if you have any questions, I believe, see their chat box. And if not, at the end of this, go ahead and you can unmute yourself and I can answer anything that comes up then too. So I want to begin by telling you the 3 helpful things, and then we'll go into a little more of what play is. So the first one, if you have your pen and paper, it is quality time is better than quantity of time. Okay. The second one is you can invite children to play in your world. And again, we're going to dive into what each of these mean too. And then the third one is your role in children's independent play can keep them playing, right? Because the last thing we want is to send them off to go do something and then they're back every 2 minutes asking for help or direction or having many needs to get met. So we want to set them up for independent play so that we can take care of what we need to do. So first, let's go ahead and dive in to a little bit about what is play. So play is how children learn. It is how they get to know the world around them. It is how they process events or different things that have gone on in their life. You'll frequently see kids practicing new words when they're little. Maybe they had a poor interaction with a friend at school and they come home and you can see it come out and manifest within their play. So it's a time for them to work through things. It's a time for them to practice. Maybe they're practicing different tones. They're getting really loud. It's also a time for them to work through big emotions. Maybe they're feeling super frustrated and they just need to build that big tower and knock it down. Maybe they're feeling super frustrated and they don't know that building a big tower and knocking it down will help them right now. So we play a key role in their play also. But let's go a little further into play. When children are in control of their play, they're able to engage longer. And this is something that has been a big shift within the early childhood world. Before, so much of it has been directed by adults. You know, we create the lessons, we create the game plan, we create what we want the children to learn, right? And the thing is, some kids are super into that and they love it. Other kids may not be into the topic you pick or the game you've chosen or the activity, and then their interest is not there. You look at a child's attention span, And I like to give it about a minute for how old they are. So if they're 5, you have about 5 minutes to really, get their focus in. And then they're done, unless it's something they truly enjoy. And so that kind of, equates to 2-year-olds, 8-year-olds, all across the spectrum. So when we let children direct their play, when they have a choice in the activities and the options that they have, they're more inclined to spend time doing it. And that is something that's a benefit to us. It benefits us and everything we have to do, and it benefits their learning too. Because if you're interested, the things that you're practicing are going to stick better. Think about a time in your life when you really got excited. Maybe you had a trainer who spoke to you, or a teacher in school, or a friend was teaching you a new activity that they loved. Maybe you got on the hill and snowboarded for the first time, or went bowling and loved it. But when you're in this really excited, happy place, you're going to remember the skills that you're learning in those moments because you're feeling good about it. So our job is to keep children excited and engaged in their play so that they're learning what they need to, and that we can also take care of what we need to in those times. So play supports healthy brain development. As I said, we can build our language skills. And what's important to remember is that kids all play differently. Think about right here, if you're someone who doesn't like to play, think of the things you don't like to play. And then think about the things you do like to play. Children are the same. Some children love building with blocks. Some children are super sensory focused. Some children love art. Some have a lot of high energy and they love large motor activities, be it outside or inside. So you really have to take the time to get to know your child, to observe, to see the kind of play that they like to do. Because when you can really make it about them, the things that they like, then you're able to keep their interest going longer, especially, again, in those times when we need them to be focused on their own play. So right now, I want everyone to just take a minute, and I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to think about a time in your childhood where you were playing and you were just having an incredible time. Okay. You're maybe you did something for the first time. Maybe you built something really cool, did a new trick, something like that, right? But you can feel that feeling. Now, I want you to imagine running up to the closest adult that's there to share with them this super cool thing that just happened. Okay, so you're all pumped up, and here they are on a phone, and they put their hand up and push you away, or they say, "Oh, not now," or "Mommy's busy right now," or they don't say anything. They just turn away. And so how you feel? It's you're up here, you're super, super elevated, and then you're brought down. And it can be super disheartening. Maybe it doesn't happen too often. And you say, okay, that's fine. You walk away, they're busy. I know when I come back again, they'll be able to interact with me or hear what I have to say and be excited with me. But maybe it's something that happens more often than once in a while. We're all guilty of it. And it can be hard sometimes to reflect and on those moments and feel like we did maybe a bad time or we did a disservice to our child. But I'm here to say, we're not judging anything we have done in the past. We're here to just make conscious choices of how we want to interact with our kids. So if you're starting to see yourself go that direction, pull yourself back and say, we're just moving forward. So one of our primary roles is that interaction in that moment. Even though the child is playing by themselves, they're coming to us for a need, whether it's validation or acknowledgement or security or safety. There is something they want met. And the more comfortable they become coming to us, the more comfortable they become going off and exploring on their own too, which is the balance we want to establish with our children. So a little more about our role as caregivers, as parents, as teachers. There is this really cool visual and philosophy called the circle of security. So go ahead, if you have your pen and paper, write that one down because it's worth looking into a little bit more. And basically what it's saying is we are the secure foundation for our children, right? I'm trying to get the camera visuals, but it's a circle. So our job is to be this foundation for the kids, to send them off into their own exploration. And then when they need us, they come back. And we talked about how their needs may be different. Maybe they got hurt and they need a quick kiss to make it better. Maybe they need a Band-Aid. Maybe they need that, oh my goodness, look what you just did. That's incredible. Maybe they need a listening ear. So our job is to be whatever they need. Our role is to support their exploration, to be that safe place when they need it, to observe their play and the different interactions they have so we can get to know them. And these are things we can do from a distance too, right? We don't have to be micromanaging, and we don't have to be, doing hand over hand play with the kids. We can do a lot of this from the sideline if we set ourselves up for success. One of the most important things, and it's something I think I get hung up on a lot, and I think other people might as well, and it comes with changing your story. So again, if you're like me and you don't like to play, right? You have, I'll give you an example. My daughter loves imaginary play. I can't stand it. It makes me cringe. It makes the face I make, I don't hide my emotions. So when she comes up and is like, I'm a puppy and I want to go for a walk, I instantly want to go, ooh. And I can't do that. I cannot show my internal emotion about how I feel about this because she's really excited to share this experience with me, right? So I need to check myself. I am an adult. I am a parent. And this is the dynamic I have. I need to be able to check myself. So, okay, I'm like, how can I make this work? I don't want to get up and play around, but I say, hey, puppy, would you like to play fetch? I don't want to go for a walk right now, but we can play fetch. So I get to sit on my couch. I'm throwing something. She's bringing it back. She's super happy. And I didn't push my narrative on her. She's not walking away thinking playing imaginary play is bad or boring or something mom doesn't like, so I shouldn't like it, right? I'm letting her form her own opinions on it. And I'm finding a way for me to play that will allow me to keep that look off my face, because again, it's really hard and I really don't like imaginary play. So it takes that conscious effort and it takes practice. I can't tell you how many times in a day I say the wrong thing, and again, I don't think there's a wrong or right. There's just an assessment of what you're doing. And if you want to change it, take the steps to change it. So there are many moments in my day where I feel I could have said that better. So I'm going to practice and do it again. So just know it's a process, and it's really hard to merge what your children's needs are and what your needs are. So let's start talking a little bit more about these 3 helpful things. Okay. The first one is quality time is better than quantity time. One of the biggest complaints I hear and feel myself as a parent is I don't have time. So, you're home, you're taking care of everything you need to do at home, all the chores, you're cooking, maybe you're prepping people for the next day and their activities, or you're shuttling people around, or you have a newborn at home and you're not sleeping, or, there's tons of things that fill our day. And sometimes we feel like we are racing against the clock to just get something done. And what happens in those moments? Those are the moments our children come up to us and want our attention, want our full undivided attention to do probably the one thing we dislike doing the most, right? Maybe you're not a doll person or Barbies. I had someone tell me the other day they can't stand Barbies, and I feel ya. And in those moments where you are just like, I got to get these dishes done, I got to get this dinner cooked, your kid comes up and is like, I really want you to come play this with me. And you may say, I just don't have time right now, and have one of those harsher responses because you're so worried or consumed with other things that are going on. And it happens, right? So here are some of the things that you can do. In that moment, I'm just going to use dishes for an example because it seems to be the one thing I'm always doing when my kids come up. If my child approaches me in that moment, I'm going to let her know when we can have that quality time. If I don't need to finish the dishes in that moment, but I want to finish them soon, I can look at her and I can say, hey, I can hear that you really want some time with mommy right now. How about this? I'm going to pause my dishes for right now. I'm going to set a timer and we can have 10 minutes of mommy and Ray time. How does that sound? And then when the timer goes off, I'm going to go back to do my dishes. And then similarly, if maybe you just need to finish the task that you're doing, you can set a timer and say, in 15 minutes, when the timer goes off, I will be ready to sit down and play with you because what I am doing will be done. So giving a child a timeline and one that you can be held accountable to. This is probably one of the things I work on the most is my concept of time. I'm very big on saying in 2 minutes, in 1 minute, in 5 minutes, and then getting so caught up with what I'm doing that my children probably have no concept of time. And, you feel bad doing that too. So doing something as simple as setting an alarm on your phone for maybe when the play is going to end or when it's going to start will help keep you and your child on the same page. And it'll help you be accountable as well. It'll also give you a reference point for your child. They come back up and they ask you, and you can say, oh, remember what we just talked about? You can go take a look at the timer. So you can give them an option and something to reference to, which gives you the time to do what you need to finish. So what does quality time look like? Quality time means you're present. Okay, I am here. It is more than that. I highly encourage people to set their cell phones down and away from them. I know if it's next to me, I don't even realize when I pick it up sometimes. And the second you pick up that phone, it instantly shows the child that your attention is elsewhere. And your job right now is to really focus on that quality time, because if they have that quality time with you, they're not going to feel that need to come and get it from you right after, right? If we keep brushing it off with little tiny Band-Aids or I'll be there in a couple minutes, I was in here, but then I picked up my phone. They're going to keep coming back and asking for it because they haven't got their needs met yet. So when you are focused in, when you are present, when your phone is away, you're able to show them that you're there. You're there to listen. You're there to engage. It's great to get down on their level, to make eye contact, to ask open-ended questions, which means we're letting them tell us what's happening. I can see you created something over here. Can you tell me more about it? Or, you were very excited to spend time with me. What would you like to do right now? So giving them that control of that moment really keeps their focus in. And then as parents too, if it is Barbie that they really want to play right now, we can say, I can do this for 10 minutes. I can completely do this. You can even say, I know Barbies aren't my favorite, but I'm really excited to play with you because you're excited. So we have that opportunity to create value in that time together. We did mention that if time is hard for you, set that specific time. This is such an important tool for you and your child and communication. And then when you're having this quality time together, I want you to also share things that you love with them too. Again, I mentioned Battleship's my favorite game. And one day I hope my children want to play with me too, because I love playing that game. But, going out to nature is something for me. I play when I'm outside, and that's something I like to share with my children. And then my child, she loves to build magnetile houses for her animals. And so I need to spend time doing that too. So it's an exchange. You get to learn a little bit about each other. And I think when we think of it like that too, it becomes more of an exciting moment instead of a chore or a task. And also setting that time limit will help it so it doesn't feel like a chore versus a task. Okay, so that first part was quality time, making quality moments together. Now, the second part is you can invite children to play in your world. For example, I could use dishes again. I'll use working. I have my headphones, right? My daughter got a pair of headphones for Christmas, and she loves to play work. So if I am working in my office, I have a little setup for her there. Oh, thank you. It is helpful. All these little things. And we're all constantly gleaning new tips and tricks, right? I know I am every day, and I know the kids are teaching me new ways to do things too. So through their interest, she loves what I do. The kids love what you do, you guys. It doesn't matter what it is you're doing. I mean, am I right? Like, they follow you everywhere, into the bathroom, into the kitchen, into your car. What are you doing? What are you doing? So we can bank on that. That's an interest, right? So how can you use this to allow you to get the things done that you need to do without having to play, but they're still fully engaged in learning in the moment? So her little desk set up, I invite her in. I say, hey, mommy has to work right now and I cannot play with you, but you can work next to me if you would like. I've given you your space. You have headphones like mommy. You have some paper and a notebook. You are welcome to be here. But if you choose to go somewhere else, that is fine too. When I am done working, I will come check on you. So I've set clear boundaries around the activity that we're doing. I've invited her into my world. They're normally, children are seeking connection. They want to see what you're doing. They want to do it with you. And there are a lot of opportunities we can give them to do that. My husband, for example, was setting up a bed the other day, and our 1-year-old was in here with him, and he was so excited to just pick up the tools and hand it to him. And, I was able to just kind of shut the door and let them do their thing, and they were fine because he got to find a safe way to be part of his world too. It doesn't always work like this. Sometimes, you have business calls, or you're doing an activity that it's not safe for them to be there for, and you can explain that to them. But when you do have the opportunity to do so, I highly encourage it. Again, let's talk doing dishes. You can set up a little tub of water, and it can be maybe your child's job to wash their toys. I don't want to wash my child's toys, and she loves washing things. So setting her up with a bin with a sponge and some soap and some water and a towel lets her do what I'm doing. And I've explained also, this is your space and this is mommy's space. You are welcome to be up here and do this just like me right now, or you can make a choice and go play something else. And, children, they love jobs. I think of being in the preschool classroom, and sometimes you're so much more on it when you're in there because there's so many of them and you have to use these tools. Otherwise, it completely erupts into chaos. So when we're in the home, sometimes I'm not as quick to use these tools because I just mentally am not there. I let it get to a different point before I bring them in. So something as small as giving your child jobs. They can be called chores. They can just be like a special, I need your help moment. But when children are asked for their help, they light up and they get so excited and they want to do this with you. And this is all a form of play for them. And that's something that I think too, we forget. Play is not just kicking a ball. It's not just building with blocks. It's not just, toys everywhere. It's experiences. It's going through the life experiences and trying things out and doing things with you. It's learning new skills. You can sing a song as you're doing the dishes too, and it becomes a different experience. So I want us to kind of expand what we think play is, because it's not just playing Barbies. It's not just doing imaginary play. There are other ways for them to play too that, at least for me, are more appealing too. Okay, so this third part is that your role in independent play can keep them playing more. And this is what we want, right? We would love to just send our kids off to play, and then in a couple of hours, they come back with all these wonderful experiences, and we got all these things done on our list. And the reality is that's not it. Our role as a parent is, again, remember that circle of security. Our role as a parent is to be that secure base, is to send them off exploring and to know they are going to come back. Our children are learning skills. They're developing the language. They are learning to problem solve, to think on their toes, to get creative, and they need our help. And as parents, as caregivers, that is just something that we need to be able to do for them. So the first part comes with really acknowledging, okay, this is my role. I'm going to be that secure base for when my child needs it. So when they come back to me, I can help them with whatever need they have, and then I can send them back off. So there's a couple more things we can do to set us up for success during this independent play. The first part is making sure that the play space where the child is safe. If you're in, maybe a common area, you have furniture that's secured, your outlets are safe. Maybe there's not any breakables within reach, and, we're always within hearing range of our children, and ideally we're within visual too. But as kids get older, they have a little more freedom. They have a little more control of what they do. So what we have control over is that environment. So making sure it is safe will help you be able to navigate different problems that arise, as opposed to those emergency situations like a vase broke or this furniture fell down or now they're really hurt. Kids will always be children, and they'll be able to find a way to navigate an environment in a way you didn't even think of. But we know that. We know that about them. So we're just going to control what we can control. Another wonderful way to keep them engaged in independent play is to set up play invitations throughout your space. What this means is children have different options to choose from. Typically, all of our toys tend to go into like one basket or one box, and children don't have the inclination to go and search for things. If they don't see it right away, they tend to just disengage, or maybe now they're coming to you and they're not able to take themselves to the next step. So when you set them up for success by setting it out, for example, my daughter's really into magnets. So one area I set up had a couple cookie sheets. It had her magnet tiles. It had her other magnet letters, and it was in a small little space because I know she likes to go into narrow spots. On the flip side, my son is really into cars. So there was an area that had a bunch of cars set up, and it had ramps and a couple things for him to pull in a different area too. So I have strategically put their interests in different parts of the room because I know right now they need a lot of monitoring when they're interacting together. They're starting to become, very physical and taking toys, and they need me next to them to work through the language. And sometimes I cannot sit down with them, and that's okay. We have things we need to do too. We are balancing a lot. So in those moments, by setting up toys on other opposite ends of their space, it'll help pull them to different areas. And I can use that too. If my daughter walks over and says, they're fighting over this certain thing, I can make a different suggestion. Say, hey, did you see that really cool magnet spot that got set up over there? Can you try exploring that for a little bit? So it gives me a quick resource too. I don't have to think about what to set up because I already know what options they have. I know if we have Play-Doh. I know if there is, books in one area. I know if they need a snack in that time. I am ready for these things. And what that does is it just shortens that interaction time. So think about your circle, right? And they're looping back around. And our goal is to have a pretty big loop in our circle so that they're exploring more and they're not needing us as much. When they're younger, they need us a lot. But when they're older, they should be giving those skills to be more self-sufficient, and they're needing less and less and checking in less with you. You guys, we want our children to check in with us. We want to be part of this interaction and this play and to be part of their worlds. And when they're little, interacting in play, being there when they have that need and meeting it for them will set them up in life to know that if they have a bigger problem, they can come to you. It seems so small right now because we're just talking about, like building blocks and driving with cars for our 2 to 5 year olds. But this really does create that foundation, and it creates that connection with your child. They see that you see value in what they are doing, and that means something. So really fine-tuning those small moment interactions, having that quality play, setting them up for success is really creating that foundation that's going to help them years and years and years down the line too. Okay, so you have a safe space. You've given them options. You know what options are available before you've kind of started doing whatever activity you need to do. Now, you're also going to keep an open ear, right? Maybe you can step in with some language if a child needs help sharing a toy, or if they, you can hear them getting frustrated in one area, you can make a new suggestion. And the type of language we use is important too. So think back to that example or that personal experience you thought about, the time where you just loved the game you were playing and how you wanted to go share it with an adult, and then they just smashed you down because they weren't interested. So let's flip it now. Okay. So what kind of response would you have liked to get from that person? Would you have liked to see the excitement in their face? If you came up with an owie on your knee, would you have liked to know that they see that you don't feel like it hurts? You can say, oh, I can see that hurts right now. They want to see that you see them. So how we respond on our face and the words we use will really control the purpose of that little interaction, and if they're going to go and explore again, or if they're going to keep cycling back more and more because their needs aren't being met. So getting to know your child, getting to know what they need. My daughter, a kiss on her knee really does make things better really quick when she is super engaged in play. And I know that. My son, it's a kiss on the top of the head. It's a very specific spot. But you get to know your kid. And then you'll know too, if there's a time where this is a bigger thing than their normal play, and I do need to focus on it a little more. So you become aware of their cues and their signals too. And then one final thing within this is, if you need to fully be elsewhere, if you need to go take a call and you can't be that secure base for the child, it's really important to try to pass off to another person or another adult that's there, so that your child knows mommy's going to step away for a little bit, but daddy's in the room, grandma's in the room, your big sister's in the room, and they can help you if you need something right now, and then I'll come check on you. So you're letting them know where that secure base is. You're letting them know when you're coming back, and then they're able to still feel safe and secure to engage in their play some more. Because if they don't feel safe, they don't feel secure, they don't have that connection with you, they're not going to feel comfortable going and playing by themselves either. They're going to have some other underlying concern going on, and we want to alleviate that when we can. So kind of just circling back real quick, we've kind of hit about 30 minutes. Remember, we have quality time is better than the quantity of time. Okay. Don't beat yourself up if you have not spent hours on hours playing in a day. It is okay. Try to have that one really special moment in the day, and it doesn't have to be big. It can be simple. Okay. Some small thing that you are fully present for. And then at the end of the night, you can reflect on that too with your child, and you can talk about that moment together and remind each other of how special that was, and maybe brainstorm what that might look like the next day too. Then if you are super busy or working or have something going on, try to invite them into your world. When they can come play in your world, they are able to work side by side, and that helps their play skills develop too. So it's still independent play, but you're close by, and that skill helps build up to the independent play that we are really working towards. So with that third component, your role really will control how much they engage in their independent play. Have you set your environment up so it's safe and that there are fun options? Another thing I want to say about that really quick that I forgot was the type of toy that you have out will really be important too. Think about like board games, something that has a lot of instructions, something that has one set way you have to do something. Maybe it's like, a Lego set, and they're not doing open-ended play with it. They have a specific outcome they want. That is not the best choice during those times, because they're going to need a lot of direction from you. So making choices that they're capable of doing on their own, choices that have more open-ended options to them, are great options to have out when they are doing independent play. It allows you to kind of stand back a little bit more as they're exploring. So I wanted to make sure I said that part too. And so your environment's safe, you have those wonderful options, you are the secure base. Again, that's our role. We're not getting out of it. That is what the kids need from us. And the language we use and being present and making eye contact and the facial expressions will help them continue and engage in their play that they're doing too. So that kind of wraps up my end of the presentation. I did want to open it up if anybody had any questions, if maybe, there's a time in your day that is hard for you, that your child always wants your attention. If you want to work through that, we can, or you can message me too. Hadar, I'm going to pass it your direction right now. Oh, you are so welcome. Yeah, again, it's like I say, we are always learning, right? There are times when I feel like I have all the tools, and then nothing works. And so then my child shows me something new, and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. Why didn't I think of it like this? So I think if we realize we're always failing forward, that we're not perfect, that it's okay to mess up, but really just zone into what you want as a person. How do you want people to interact with you? When you come home from work and are super excited about a presentation, like here I am, I'm like, tell my husband, I'm like, I'm going to do this talk on the value of play and not liking play. If he wasn't excited with me, that'd be super, I'd bum me out a little bit. And I don't want that. So you want to make sure you're showing up for your children in their work the way you want people to show up for you too. So it's a good way just to kind of keep our minds on track. I know that, it's the end of the holidays. We have a lot more toys and a lot of extra things in our house too. Yes, please, if you have questions, feel free to write it there, or you can unmute too. But really, sitting down with your kids, if you have more toys in the house, and seeing what it is they actually like to play with, and if there's any old stuff you can get rid of too. Sometimes that helps the play, because kids can get overwhelmed a lot if there's too many things. So taking that time, I have a big bin in our garage, and I just put stuff in there periodically, and we'll cycle through, because my kids get overstimulated, and if they're overstimulated, I have to overengage, and then I'm not having fun either. So that's one of those set yourself up for success tips too. Okay, if anybody has any questions, feel free to type them in there. But again, I appreciate you guys showing up today. I know the holiday is quite an exciting time. Personally, we're snowed in and we've been in the house for 4 long days. And so we've had to pull out all the different resources we have. But I'm thankful for ParentGood. I'm thankful for all the connections I've made through this community. And again, if you guys need anything, please don't ever hesitate to reach out. An only child. Yes. So that can be very different too, because a lot of the time with only children, they're seeking that co-play, and they're trying to explore what that looks like with other people. My child, when we moved, I put her back into preschool just a couple days, because for her, she needed that social interaction. And so I know she's getting that big social component at school. So then when we're at home, I can work on having specific one-on-one times with her and really fostering her independent play too. So I know for me at home, I can't give her that same experience as being around other children. And so there's so many different options. There's, indoor gyms, people do like there's schools or small camps or different programs. And I feel like that's a really helpful tool, because there's only so much you can do as a parent. But then really, the same tips we did today, they can do some of the work with you, and then emphasize, what does your work look like? What is something you would like to do? If a child tends to feel really needy, I suggest making a visual schedule. Maybe, when they come home after school, they always want your attention, and that's when you have to do something. So you write out your visual schedule of at 3:45 to 4 o'clock, mom has to do this, and this is your time to do this. But at, 4:15, this is our special time together. So when they, again, know what to expect, that helps. Sometimes, again, it kind of comes down with, it's more than just being an only child. It really has to do with your child's personality and their interests and what it is that they are seeking. Because, maybe it is a connection, and maybe they need more of that. And so you do need to find more quality time together. Maybe they just have a hard time making choices, and you need to help them with some of the options too. So there's just a couple of little things without knowing specifically your child. But again, you guys, every child is very different. Every child will play different. Every child will respond differently. Every child, they may have a different relationship with, mom and dad. And so you need to learn how to navigate that with your child, and be open to it, and be open to getting to know, okay, this feels like a problematic moment. What can I do to fix it? What can I do to help this? What can I do to help both of us in this moment? So really just keeping that open mind. But if you have any more questions specifically, again, please feel free to reach out, and we can chat about that.
Thank you so much, Ed.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate being here. I love it. And I hope you guys have a couple little tips and tricks to put in your back pocket to help you guys in those moments. And just remember, you're not alone. All right. Well, if that's all the questions, Hadar, I think I am going to go ahead and sign off, and we can all head back. But I'll give it a couple more seconds in case somebody else has something. All right, you guys, I want to send you off I want you to really think about the one thing you love doing. Okay. Something that just lights your soul up, something you love to do. And we don't think about what we do as play, but it's us playing. So think about something that you love more than anything. And I want you to think of a way to share that with your child. And then I want you to take that time to really figure it out what it is that they love right now. What is something they are super passionate about, and find the time to connect on that too. These small moments, you guys, make a big difference. And just know we can do it in small moments. It doesn't have to be these really big, grand gestures that take a lot of time, because we don't have that. And that's okay. So keep it simple, keep it personable, and it'll really help you guys build that foundation. So have a wonderful night, you guys. And thank you again.
Thank you, Cascade, for this wonderful and helpful session. And everyone, just feel free, if you want to continue speaking, just feel free to reach out to Cascade through the app. And Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, everyone.
Yes, happy holidays, everyone. Thank you. Have a wonderful night, and happy playing, everybody. We'll talk to you guys soon. Good night.